Well, there we go. Says we're live. What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, Cheesehead TV, with some extra cheese for you today. Packers practicing for the first time in preparation for the Detroit Lions. First injury report of the week is out. First practice reports are out. Needless to say, it doesn't sound good for the prospect of Kenny Clark returning in time to face the Lions, although it is still early in the week, so it's certainly going to be monitored. But I think the bigger surprise, looking at that injury report, is Elton Jenkins being added. That's never good. But it is football. Guys do get banged up, and he was at least a limited participant, so that's good. Lucas Patrick is there with a shoulder. It sounds like he's on schedule to return. But for the most part, the Packers should be, I would guess, overall okay. We'll see how these guys trend throughout the week. Big B is here. What's up, Big B? What's up, Nagler from Florida? How are you, man? Large F? What? Hey, Nags, what's up? How are you? I don't think people gave Rashan Gary enough credit about his motor every play. Man, I was talking about it this morning. He was insane. In that game, he was all over the place. It's crazy. Hello from Hayward, Wisconsin. What's up, Matthew? Hello from New York. How you doing? Ooh. Curtis Bolton, when's he coming back? And if so, how useful and effective do you believe he can be? Well, he was having a good camp last summer prior to getting hurt. No idea what his timetable is. I mean, he missed the entirety of camp, so it's hard to believe he could step in and contribute right away whenever he's able to go. Billy Wynn seems like a win to me, Joey. Well played. Now get out. No. Well, you know, he's got some familiarity with the defense, obviously. He was selected by the Browns when Pettin was there, and don't doubt for a second that he could step in if needs be and give them a big body there against the run. So yeah, we'll see how that progresses throughout the week. Merry Snacks. As I yelled on Twitter this afternoon, because it seems, and I get not everybody reads everything and knows everything that has been repeated ad nauseum online, but the Packers made Snacks an offer this offseason, and he is not convinced he still wants to play, and that's where it stands. So till Snacks decides, yeah, I'm ready to play, then it really doesn't matter. From Kaukauna, Wisconsin, what's up, Donald? How are you, buddy? Oz, happy hours tomorrow. It'll be the Zoom info will be up on the Patreon page tomorrow morning. Would you rest Kenny Clark to ensure he doesn't aggravate it? Well, Robin, I don't think they'll have much choice. I think he was with the rehab group today, which would suggest, and he did not participate in practice, which would suggest they're going to try and get him back. But if he can go, he can go. I'm always kind of the mind that it's football. Guys get hurt. You're never 100% once the season starts. And if you can get there between the white lines, yeah. But all of that said, groin injuries are notorious for lingering, and you definitely don't want to make it worse. But that's why you have doctors, and that's why you have medical experts. And if they say he's good, then I'm fine with it. Why didn't the Packers use Dillon more? Frank, I think they were cooking just fine on offense. There was really no need to insert him just because. But that said, we did hear from Matt LaFleur earlier this afternoon saying that he wanted to try and get Dillon some more carries in Sunday's game against the Lions. So be on the lookout. I was surprised to hear that Sunday was the first time Coach LaFleur repeated a call in a game. In your experience, how unusual is that? Well, okay, I didn't really read it like that. I know, I mean, the unusualness of it. I know he had said that Aaron often tells him to try and get back to stuff, and Aaron did mention the use of some of the end around stuff and the jet sweep stuff was Matt going back to plays that worked. I mean, that was the old McCarthy quote, right? That they had so many plays in their playbook that they could play triple headers if they wanted to. Coaches love volume, man, and they like to try and get to everything they practice throughout the week, everything they've installed. So I think that's pretty typical in the sense of wanting to get your entire play sheet called. Now, it doesn't always happen because sometimes situational football being as it is, you may say you got a bunch of third and shorts and you never get into third and short, or you very rarely throughout a game, etc. Things like that. But yeah, I think most coaches are like that. Legless, thanks to the super chat. Peterson over under 75 rushing yards. Oh, God, man, don't get me all depressed. I'm trying to have a nice time. Give me the over, unfortunately. On those few red zone drives where we didn't convert, I really was hoping they would throw in A.J. Dillon in there and let him pound the rock. Well, I hear you, but it's not like Aaron Jones doesn't have a nose for the end zone. He scored 19 freaking touchdowns last year. And they would have gotten in on one of those instances if Davante just holds on to the ball. So, yeah, I mean, yes, I would love to see A.J. Dillon trucking fools. There's no doubt about that, but all in due time. It will come. MVS will be the difference between a good offense and a great offense. Agreed? No, not really. I think he can absolutely elevate their wide receiver squad. I don't think there's any question there. If he can find the consistency, I mean, if he catches those two that he dropped on Sunday, that's a monster game for him. But yeah, I think they can be great even without him. I mean, yes, I think he adds an element, especially on the speed side of things. There's no question. We all know he can burn it, but they've got a lot of weapons, and if they're going to feature MVS and or utilize him against certain defensive backs or certain coverages, that certainly augments them. But I don't think he's the difference between a good and a great offense. I think the real difference is going to be health up front and Aaron Rodgers playing like he did on Sunday. Because if they get those two things, they can beat anybody anywhere and put up a ton of points doing it. Big B, 46. I don't think that's the real Big B, though. 46 TDs, 0 INTs for Rodgers. Sure, mark it down. Mark it 0. Why not? Love watching the Rodgers haters on national TV mumbling on how they knew Rodgers would be going off. Yeah, there's a lot of revisionist history there. Revisionist recent history on some of those talking heads. No doubt about it. Any update on Kenny Clark? Jacob, I started the video with it. He was with the rehab group today. Did not participate in practice. Probably I would characterize it as a long shot that he plays on Sunday. But we'll see. It is still early in the practice week. They got a couple more practices before they have to make that determination. I think tomorrow obviously is the big tell. If he's there practicing in any way, shape, or form, then he's got a chance. If he sits out tomorrow again, then probably no chance at all. What do we got here? Does the draft make more sense after seeing week 1? The draft made sense right after the draft, people. Don't get me started. Don't go. We had Wetzel today with his column that was obviously pre-written, win or lose. Oh, watching Rodgers dominate makes the draft all the more unfulfilling or some nonsense, whatever the hell he wrote. Come on, man. When are people going to realize the Packers just operate a little bit differently than the draft industrial complex and their groupthink would have them do? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, just because they don't take a wide receiver or whatever positions you thought they should take doesn't mean that they don't know what they're doing. And in fact, they've been doing the same shit for decades, since Ron Wolf came into the building. He literally built a personnel group and a way of working that has brought this team unparalleled success for decades. And yet, some national writers and talking heads on TV and the draft industrial complex is sitting here going, the Packers had a terrible draft. No, the Packers had a perfect draft for the Packers. They know what the fuck they're doing, and they know how to build a team. Oh, sorry, I'm not going off at you specifically. I'm just so fed up with it already. Like, everybody thought they should draft wide receivers. They didn't draft a single wide receiver. The wide receiving group goes out and has literally a historic day against the Vikings. And Monday, we got fucking headlines saying, oh, they still had a terrible draft. Shut the fuck up. Done with it. Done with it. Done with it. The difference of the offense this year is Rodgers fully buying in over the offseason. Not sure I agree with your police work there, Norm, or Gary, sorry. I think there was buy-in last year. I think he's the big change. We just talked to Aaron about it. Was something that they mentioned on the broadcast a couple times, and he talked about it after a couple questions today. His work with his legs and his base is so noticeable in regards to the falling away thing that has been the bane of Packers fans' existence for a couple of years. It's been pointed out again and again and again. That was pretty non-existent. You still saw it once or twice, but pretty non-existent on Sunday. He was really centered, upright, throwing with a good base, and that makes all the difference. And he talked about how, coming back from a broken leg in 2018, he had a lot of extra work on his legs this offseason to try and strengthen that aspect of it. And it showed up, man. And if I tell you what, if he can repeat that week after week, look the fuck out. There's a lot of like concepts that they're going to kind of expand on, obviously, things that they're going to get to this year that we didn't see last year. But I don't think buy-in from Rodgers was a problem. I think they were trying to do a lot. They were trying to build stuff both from what Matt had brought in and what Aaron was comfortable with from his time with Mike. And you guys know, anybody who's been here for a while knows I was not a big fan of keeping a lot of the Mike stuff. I thought it really slowed them down on offense a couple of times last year. But this year, I think, you another year in the system, playing in rhythm. And to me, that's the biggest thing on Sunday. You see Aaron playing in the rhythm of the offense. And a lot of that is because he is centered and he has a good base. So to me, that's the biggest difference. Best session beer for a 12 kickoff Lambeau time. Scuzz, good question. I really like the Wisco Discos or the Tailgater from Stillmank. I think those are both good. Spotted Cow's a little too heavy for me that early. I like to try and work my way up to that one. A good Tailgater is good, though, for you. But, of course, a PBR. That one as well. Let's see. Dylan, thanks for the super chat. Goody ever talk about scouting for Matt versus Mike? I actually asked him pretty much that question last year. And, he's basically said, I'm trying to really paraphrase something from a long time ago here, but along the lines of, the process doesn't change, but there are certain positions and or things they're looking for that may get tweaked as far as what they want on offense, what they're asking guys to do, and the kind of traits they may be looking for. But the actual initial workup of every player, that none of that changes. Like, you're still building your reports from the ground up, and then kind of seeing, what Matt wants to work with positionally. Let's see. I think I missed another super chat. Hold, please. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. With Jenkins limited, call Valdir or next man up? Oh, I don't think they're going to call him because because Jenkins, is limited. But Valdir also had a workout and or meeting with the Cowboys today. So who knows if he's even still available at this point. Legless. Yeah, Big B. It's not Big B. Joey, I didn't see a super chat from you, buddy. You asked if it went through. I didn't see it. How can I get Wisconsin beer in New Jersey? Nick, illegally, mostly. That's about the best I can give you. No, Leinenkugels is available now locally here in the tri-state area. I've seen it at a ton of different grocery stores lately. I think some of that, though, is because I think it's available in the summers here, at least in New York. I don't know about Jersey, but I know the summer shandies I've seen around a couple times, a couple different places. But outside of that, you got to find yourself someone who loves you, who lives in Wisconsin, basically. Not super excited to see Adrian Peterson at Lambeau this Sunday. Yeah, Corey, you and me both, buddy. D-line call-ups likely this weekend. Well, they did sign Wynn to the practice squad, the former Cleveland Brown. They let go of Mack, so he's not going to be helping. We'll see. I think they'll take the entire week to make whatever call they end up wanting to go with. Probably trying to hope against hope that Kenny responds well to therapy and or rehab and maybe, get him out there on Sunday, but we'll see. Brandy, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Thoughts on the tight end personnel in the passing game and attacking the middle of the field more? I think it'll come. I don't think there's any question that one of the reasons we saw what we saw offensively against the Vikings is because they were playing against some really young corners they knew they could take advantage of. I tried to get Matt to talk a little bit about it yesterday. He didn't bite, or I think it was on Monday. He didn't bite, but yeah, I think they'll go there when they think it's advantageous as far as whatever defense they're facing, whether it is personnel or scheme driven. I think they've got the horses to do it. They've got all the talent in the world at that position. It's just a question of finding the matchups that favor it. But like I said, it will come eventually. Big feet, Jamal Williams, the GOAT. We'll see. Montrevious back. Mark still limited with that toe injury. So we'll see. We'll see how he progresses throughout the week. But right now he's kind of right where he was last week. Everyone healthy, what would be your optimal offensive line lineup? Ooh, Jacob, that's a good question. Yeah, probably, pretty boring. I think it's almost chalk at this point, but I would go probably Bakhtiari, Jenkins, Lindsley, Taylor, Wagner. But people are hurt. So it'll probably be, if I had to guess right now, I'm thinking Jenkins was probably going to be okay. So I'd go Bakhtiari, Jenkins, Lindsley. Gosh, who knows? Probably Billy Turner, Rick Wagner. But we'll see. We'll see how Turner progresses as well because he's still limited. How do you feel about Christian Kirksey's first game with us? Dawson, that's a good question. I think, like I said, I think this morning, it was unspectacular, obviously. It was solid. Didn't really pop off the screen. Still waiting for that all 22 to pop up so I can do the actual film work breakdown. But yeah, I thought he was fine. You know, I think he's definitely maybe thinking a little bit. Don't forget, it's his first real live full game action in quite a while after a couple years of dealing with injuries. So I think he'll continue to progress and or improve. But it's definitely going to be something to watch for. No doubt about that. Legless, thanks for the super chat. Will Adams go up against Okuda? I don't know. I have no idea. I think he'll go up against whoever they present him with. I think the interesting part is the Lions having Trufant. At the beginning of the week, it sounded like he might not be able to go, but now it sounds like he might be available for the Lions. And yeah, there's a good chance that you see him on Davante quite a bit. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Aaron, talk about reporters asking players to talk about things. Why are you trying to get me all riled up? Why are you trying, man? Why? It's a lovely afternoon. We're sitting here talking Packers, and Dustin, you got to come up and ask me that question. I mean, talk about is the worst of the worst. I mean, there are levels, right? There are levels of horrible questions, but nothing is worse than talk about. Nothing, not a thing. There is no thing. Talk about is the absolute worst. Let's see what else we got here. What else do we got? Joey, thanks for the super chat. 2020 was a shit show, but September 13th, Packers 43, Vikings 34. The world righted itself. Carry the G, my dad. Joey the Jaguar, your father is a gentleman and a scholar. I could not agree more. Should we trade or cut Jamal Williams because it doesn't look like we will keep him? Tavius Sanders, wash your fingers out with soap. Look, I talked about it all offseason. I'm going to keep saying the same thing I've always said. It doesn't make any sense to get rid of the guy. I know people want to get something for him because they may lose him in free agency. But even if you lose him in free agency, you're going to get a compensatory pick. And I don't think you're going to get anything better than what you'd get in the comp pick. So much rather have him in the fold, so to speak, and being utilized on offense. You saw he was pretty damn valuable on Sunday. They got a real good thing going there. Don't just blow it up because you want to get a draft pick. That makes no sense to me. Hey, Nags, what team on the schedule scares you the most? Mine is the Atlanta Falcons game. Nothing scares me on the schedule. Not a thing. Not. Look, the only thing that worries me are my children. I say it all the time. When it comes to the Packers, I don't worry about the games. They don't scare me at all. The opponents, what was that famous quote? I respect them all. I fear none of them. That's what it is, man. If there's a game that I think the Packers could have their hands full, there are a few. The biggest one to me is the Titans game. Henry's no joke, man. And the thought of him running roughshod in Lambeau is very real. Do the Packers re-sign Jamal Williams? Ooh, now trying to get me in trouble with Big B. No. Thanks for the super chat. Talk about the lack of transplants this week. Oh, Julia, why you got to combine the worst part of the reporter's question with Packer transplants being canceled? You mean talk about bringing the party down? Yeah, it's just impossible, technically. LiveX is doing very well, which is obviously very, very good. But because of that, we don't have space and we don't have people to mount a show, essentially, is what it comes down to. So I can't apologize enough. We will be back and we will debut next Wednesday. Craig, thanks for the super chat. Can we play man against Detroit so we can load the box against AP? I mean, it's never as simple as that. I do not doubt for a second you will see a good deal of man coverage, but you can't play it across the board. I know Matt Patricia tries, but they'll mix it up like they always do. I do think they're going to have some extra bodies in the box, especially if Kenny can't go. And then Stafford's going to be able to try and, pick his shots, so to speak, when he gets guys soloed up one-on-one, either on the perimeter or in the slot. That's going to be the chess match. No doubt about it. When will we see the Packers run past married into eternal bliss? I think it was close. It was close there on Sunday. I mean, it looked pretty good. The running game set up a lot of the stuff they were doing. Hunter, thanks for the super chat. Josh Jackson get more looks against the Lions pass offense, and will EQ be getting snaps this week? Well, EQ is dealing with a knee injury. It's something we didn't know on Sunday when he was down, but he was on the injury report today. So clearly that must have happened at the last practice prior to the game. We'll see how he progresses throughout the week. As far as Josh Jackson, if Detroit were to spread it out and Mike Pettin would have to counter with a lot of defensive backs, say like lots of dime, then I think Josh gets some more opportunities. But if they, come in ready to bear, ready to run the ball because the Packers are without Kenny Clark and have already shown that they're a little, iffy when it comes to stopping the run, I'd be surprised if we saw a ton of multiple wide receiver sets, which would mean probably not a lot of Josh Jackson. But you never know. We'll see. Craig, thank you. I got that one. All right. Any others? We'll get going here in a little second. Running to start Sunday, and I think it's way too early to say one way or the other. I don't think they would be hesitant to throw him out there at this point after what they saw in Minneapolis. He acquitted himself quite well, and if they needed him, I think they throw him out there. But we'll see how guys are by the time Friday hits and we get that final injury report. All right, guys, I got to get going. I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out, talking some Packers. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you're so inclined, please consider giving us $5 a month on our Patreon page, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. It really helps support everything we do, not just these chats, but Packer Transplants, which will be debuting next week, I promise. Not to mention our 5+ hours of live streaming each and every game day this year. Every little bit helps. And for all of you who are already Patreon members, I cannot thank you enough. If you can't, I know the world we're living in right now, money can get tight, no question about it. So please just do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack Go.